This is the SincMill multi-gym, and it promises to do just about everything. I mean, seriously, the poster it comes with shows over 20 movements, and you can do even more than that on it. So I'm gonna walk you through what it does well and the things I think you probably should avoid. Then you'll be able to decide if its trade-offs are worth it to you. We bought this for about $600 off Amazon after one of you asked us for a review. So shout out to that guy and shout out to our Patrons who allow us to afford to do videos like this. All right, we've got a lot to cover, so let's just jump right into it. And I'll start with curls because, I mean, on this channel, what else would I start with? I found Preacher curls to work well. The padding here is pretty comfortable. The resistance isn't that smooth. I will say I did apply a generous amount of lube in a few places. Bonus points to the company. They do actually give you a bottle of silicone lube that helps you out there. And this is adjustable to a few positions. It is a knob with a full bolt. It does take a while to adjust, but it's adjustable, it's comfortable, even if the resistance isn't perfect. Now, the nice thing about a machine like this, you can see that front plate flips down. Then I'm able to do vertical pulls. It's not always easy to get an ideal positioning, but pretty solid. And by ideal positioning, meaning if I wanted to do like a deadlift or a Romanian or stiff leg, I can't get really close to this because this stuff is in the way. Even if I remove this, and it's pretty cool, they have built-in storage off the sides here. So if I swap to these, they give you two of these handles. They actually supposed to attach here, but it's a little bit awkward how it goes on. For the sake of right now though, we'll just clip one in. And now, because this allows you to pull essentially at 90 degrees of an angle, so out or up, I can do things like a delt raise. One of the things, the reoccurring themes you'll find with this machine, it's maybe not built for me. At 6 foot, I run out of range of motion sometimes. This is a 1-to-1 pulley ratio. So as far as I pull this, that weight stack has to travel, meaning for something like a delt raise, you can clip the chain in at different points. You can clip the handles in at different points. But even then, I really have to mess with my positioning because I will run out of range of motion, out of cable travel. So if I wanted to step out here, it's not gonna work without me really tweaking things. But you can do quite a bit with this. It also comes with this little straight handle and the lap bar. So if I wanted to, I could do front raises and other pulls. Now, even though I can flip this up or down, it doesn't always work well for curls. I put 100 pounds in there, so let's pretend I can do that. For curls, it'll work well, but for something like a row where you're standing upright, I don't want to be this close to the machine on the pad. And if I go too far off it, you'll see the machine wants to come with me and it wants to lift up. So not perfect, but it's workable. One of the things I think this machine does very well is low rows. You do have to sit on the floor. I've got the full 160-pound stack loaded there. I can get a good stretch and it's smooth enough for a movement like this. This feels really good. And bonus points, I'll talk about this in a second. It's not the best cable system. So even though it's 160 pounds, there's a lot of internal resistance. So you get a little extra weight there for free. We've also got a high pull point here. And like the low row, it is a 1-to-1 ratio. The nice thing about a system like here that's not using a proprietary system is that I can clip pretty much anything into these carabiners here. And since my high pull, like the low row, has about 90 degrees I can pull from, I'm able to do things like tricep overhead extensions. I will say, like before, since it's a 1-to-1 ratio, you are limited on range of motion. So you can see I cannot get a full cable travel there. I can't get a full rep there. But if you don't mind straddling a little bit of machinery, it does work pretty well. Same idea with a tricep push down. I can do quite a bit off of that high pull point. Now this is technically meant to be a lat pull down. So if I clip their bar back in, the attachments are fairly cheap, but the whole system is pretty inexpensive and it's solid for what it is. If we emulate the diagram they give us, this is how they show you doing a lat pull down. I don't know what this is. I'm getting no range of motion, no stretch there, and I couldn't load it up. It's weird because, let me just throw these out of the way quickly. These arms, which I'll show you in a second, adjust fairly easily, but it's weird because I can just do a normal lat pull down here. You'll notice at 6 foot, I can't get a full stretch and range of motion, but it works pretty well. The seat is adjustable to 3 different positions using a pop pin, but unfortunately, it only gives you about 2 inches of adjustability. So it would be nice if they made that tube a little longer because it actually does not interfere with this pulley here. The other issue is if you really wanted to load this up, you can't anchor yourself particularly well. I can strap my feet into this leg developer thing we'll talk about in a second, but it's not ideal. Really, you'd want some type of lap bar to go over your lap to really anchor you in. But again, if you're not as tall as me or you don't mind that sacrifice, it works pretty well. Where things get real interesting is with the leg developer. Now, I do wish this adjusted a little easier. I understand why it's a simple kind of hand bolt, because if you're really loading this up, you need some type of rigidity here rather than a pop pin, but you know, it works. I'm just telling you right now, if you're like me, once you set it into its position, you're just gonna leave it there even if you're wrong. Now, I'm gonna put some weight on this. It is a little tricky getting into this bottom hole. It's a little tight down here, and that's because the pulleys and mechanisms are kind of in your way. It is what it is though. It's an okay trade-off. And then one of the things I should have mentioned before is it's a 160-pound stack, but they're 15-pound weight increments. So when you're doing something like a delt raise, jumping 15 pounds at a time is tricky, especially considering the fact that with the internal resistance of these cheap plastic pulleys and not being particularly great at what it does, you're really jumping more than 15 pounds at a time. By the time you get to 100 pounds, you feel like you're pushing a lot more than 100 pounds. Now, I know my mostly male viewer base has never been to the gynecologist, but I imagine this is probably what it's like. Now, in fairness, this is adjustable with a pop pin, but no matter where I put this, it's always awkward and it doesn't work particularly well as a leg press. And here's why. At the start, I have a decent resistance, but because of the leverage, how this mechanism works, there's not a great amount of resistance at the end. It doesn't have a great resistance profile. Also, I'm not coming back far enough no matter how this is adjusted. So as a leg press, I don't even want to call it passable. I guess it's a leg press. It's not great. You can do calves with it. I will say maybe it's because of my huge dad calves, but even with this at 160 pounds, it doesn't feel like much of a calf workout. But if you're looking to strengthen your feet and ankles, I actually think this works pretty well. That's about as good as that one's gonna get. I said here's where it gets interesting, but this is actually where it gets even more interesting. And that's with the rest of the things this can do as a leg developer. So I can do leg curls and leg extensions. I guess we'll show you leg extensions first. Again, the seat is adjustable, so if this is a little low, if you're getting too much stress on your thighs here, you can raise that up a little bit. As a leg extension, it's okay. In an ideal world, my knees would be moved forward a little bit so that it aligned with this pivot point. If you look, you'll see the leg roller trying to adjust its position on my feet, on my ankles as I go. That's because it's not optimal. It would be nice if I could adjust the position of these leg rollers to battle that, but it's passable. That being said, I am probably putting a little extra stress on my knees. As a leg curl, I would say it's about atrocious. Here's how I would do it. I'm putting my leg, really it lines up, because again, these aren't adjustable. It lines up here on the front of my knee, and that's not ideal because again, I want my knee on that pivot point. So you'll see as I go, my knee is jumping all over the place as it tries to align itself to the biomechanics of that movement. But the fun part is, if we try to emulate how they do it in the diagram, he has his knee braced down here, which would make sense. That's where you'd want the brace. But this is the range of motion I'd get. So the diagrams to me are a helpful way to give you ideas what to do. I wouldn't follow them that well. So as a leg developer, not great, maybe not even good. Where I think it does really well, and let's load some weight on here, is as a chest press machine. This is, with low rows, one of the things it does just really well. So as I push, I'm getting a pretty good resistance profile, consistent resistance throughout. My starting position and my stretch, not perfect, but good enough. It's not a commercial machine. When a commercial machine, you'd have a leg lever that would push this weight out of the way so you can get your arms back here to put you in a safe position. I'm not gonna have that here. This thing already does enough stuff. I can technically, to help that stretch in starting position, tilt the seat forward. The issue is, as I was showing you a second ago, getting into this position isn't necessarily safe. I have a lot of weight and my arms are really back there, but for what it is, for the money, I think it does chest press pretty well. You can also do chest flies with it. So I can go bilateral, both arms at a time, or unilateral. Unfortunately with chest press, I cannot unilateral because if I try to push one, it rotates in because of how this whole mechanism works. But for flies, it's okay. Here, I can get a good squeeze, but on the eccentric, I'm not getting much of a stretch. The first 3 or 4 inches, I really like this back more. There's no resistance at the beginning. So you're probably thinking, hey, why don't you just adjust the seat again? And while that's possible, as you'll see, because of my huge Donkey Kong-like chest, the handles just smash into my chest and I can't actually do a whole heck of a lot there. But wait, there's more. You can also set this up for rows. So these handles adjust in 4 positions. In reality, you're probably gonna use the top and bottom position. And I can do my rows. Not to pick on the diagrams too much, I think they actually have the guy doing it like this, which is useless. But I can throw this all the way up there and get a decent stretch, as long as I tilt this back. It has 4 positions, which you're not gonna use all 4. I'll show you in a second. But here, I get a pretty good stretch at the start. You can see that. Now my issue with the row is it's too high. Even if I adjust the seat all the way up, it's not perfect. It doesn't feel great to me, but overall it's solid if you're trying to just get this thing to do one more thing. Now, bonus points in the comments for anybody who can tell me what this position of the seat is for. I really don't know why they didn't make this telescope rather than tilt or combine that functionality. I mean, this whole thing moves and wiggles. So putting one more thing in here isn't gonna hurt you there. Overall, is it perfect? No, but for $600 on sale, it's surprisingly solid. If you're looking for something that's incredibly versatile with a fairly compact footprint, I mean, think about what a bunch of dedicated machines would take up for space. It's pretty good. If you're interested in it, I've linked it in the description. Let me know what you think about this style of video. Like, comment, and subscribe if you enjoy our content. Thanks for watching, and thanks to our Patreons.